you saw in the intro, this video is going to be mainly about RC crawlers, the Redcat Racing Gen 8 in particular. We acquired this through trade, and it's brand new in the box. I've been wanting to build it up. It's been sitting on my shelf for a couple months, and figured I'd get on it. Also in the trade, I got a Hobbywing AXE system. It's a brushless motor, ESC motor combo. This one's an 1800 kilovolt model, and we're going to put that in here and see what it does. It's not supposed to be the most torquey thing, but this isn't going to be a torque monster. It's going to be more of a trail rig. So as you can see, we've got a little lineup of RC crawlers already, starting with the TRX4 here. This one's pretty heavily modified. It's sitting on 2.2s. It's got a brushless motor system. We've got an SCX-10-2 with a couple upgrades, but it's relatively stock. And then we've got an Axial Wraith. This, we ditched the cage altogether and made a ladder frame with our own cage, all aluminum, welded. I wanted to go for more of a ladder frame look to get away from a full buggy looking vehicle. So it's like half Unimog, half buggy. Why am I building this one? Well, the Redcat Racing Gen 8 is a pretty new platform still. I'm going to see how it works on the trail compared to the other ones that we've got. And I'm going to try and keep it small. Actually quite a bit smaller than what it currently is, just to make it a little more challenging on rock features, because these other ones, they crawl so well, and we've upgraded them so much, it takes the challenge out of it. I mean, it's still super fun, and you can watch them crawl over all kinds of stuff, but it's also kind of cool to be down on the rocks, strategically placing the tires a little more. So that's going to be what the focus is on this build. So let me get these other vehicles out of the way and focus on what is going to happen with this and go from there. Alright, so here's all the parts we're going to be using. Like I said, I'm going to be focusing on the Redcat Racing Gen 8 pack, and I've got some tires that came stock on the SCX-10-2. They're nice and small, should keep it in a pretty decent scale. I might go a little smaller depending on how it turns out. We've got the Hobbywing AXE system, 1800 kilovolts. I know that Redcat Racing has already released an AXE version of this vehicle, but I already have these. I want to see how it works on for myself. I think the one that they have is a 3600 kilovolt, or it's definitely something higher than 1800. So it'll be interesting to see how this reacts compared to what other people have been showing on YouTube. The 1800 kilovolt should be a little slower, a little more torquey, so I'll have to just change the gear ratio accordingly. We've got a PowerHD LW-25MG 25 kilogram servo, all metal housing. Should be a pretty decent little servo. Kind of fits the budget, so we'll see how that thing works. I decided to go with a Tamiya hard body Wrangler, just to get a little more detail. I think I'm gonna do maybe a roof rack, some little 3D printed things to go in it to make it a little more detailed and cool looking. About a year and a half ago, I went to a crawler meet, and someone had one of these built up with it was just kind of stock looking, and it was so clean, and I've just wanted to build one ever since. As you can see, the wheelbase doesn't quite match up with the body and the frame, so there's going to have to be some significant chopping of the frame in order to make the wheelbase fit and to tuck all this stuff inside that body. As you might know, the Jeep Wrangler YJ, which is this one with the square headlights, they came from the factory initially with leaf springs. So I've got some leaf springs here, and this is going to be my first build with leaf springs. Now you might be thinking, well, that's not a performance increase. Well, I'm not really trying to do a performance crawler because I've already got those. So I want to try something with leaf springs and see how it compares to the typical links that you see on most of the rigs now. I am doing this as a scale rig, and obviously Jeeps did not come with portal gears, but since I'm getting a little smaller with the tires, limiting my travel with the springs possibly, I'm hoping that the portals are going to make up for the lack of performance in the other areas. So it won't look as scale, but it should still be really fun on the trail. As far as shortening this goes, since these leaf springs only take up this much space on the frame, these links can be removed, and I can shorten this in quite a bit to fit in that body. And a lot of this skid plate is actually going to be useless because all of this area holds the mounts for these links, and we don't need that anymore. So after I strip this frame down, I can make my own custom skid plate to fit this transmission and accommodate those leaf springs. So this should be like a perfect build. So before we get into modifying this frame and chopping it all up and putting leaf springs on it to fit in this body, I'm just going to go ahead and build it out as it is and then play around with it and see how it performs compared to the other vehicles that we've got. Because I've been kind of curious to see how the Redcat holds up as far as performance compared to those. As far as durability, I won't be able to know on the entire rig, but I'll be able to figure that out after the transformation, how well the axles hold up and the transmission and transfer case. So let's go ahead and build this up. When it's done, I'll throw it on a little personal crawler course and see how it works. First things first, let's get that motor and ESC in this thing. Looks like we've got to remove a couple of things so that we have some clearance to get that stuff in there. Probably have to remove a couple of these little cover plates to get access to the pinion. Alright, one thing I've learned to do through this hobby is put Loctite on pretty much every screw. If you don't, it's going to come out at the worst time, and it's going to be in the middle of a crawl and you're like 2 miles from the car and you forgot to bring your screwdriver and spare parts, then you got to carry this thing back. So just use Loctite while you get a chance in your shop. I'm coming in. There you have it, Redcat Gen 8 with an AXE system. Now I'm going to go ahead and leave this little motor inspection plate open so I can play around with this pinion gear if I decide to change it. And when I figure out where I like it, then I'll put the cover back on. For now, I'm just going to not run a body. I'll just be kind of easy on it. And if I feel like I want to drive it a little longer like this, I've got this Cherokee body that I painted years ago and I wasn't really happy with it. It'd be perfect to throw it on here and maybe drive around a little bit. We'll see how antsy I get about installing that hard body. Well, thanks for watching. Let's switch over to some footage of this thing crawling around our little personal rock crawling course, and then part 2 of the build will be swapping over to leaf springs and a YJ body. All right, thanks.